Hello, welcome to a window installation video with Fix-It-Tony. I had a previous video showing the installation of the storm door, and today we are wrapping up the window installation. I am starting, instead of at the very beginning, I'm starting near the end so you can get a glimpse of how things will look and show a comparison and contrast between the rough opening before the window goes in and the finished opening, or the finished product on the left side. So you'll see that the membrane flashing still has to get done around the sides, as it did over there on the left side. And also you should notice that the windows are a little lower off of the soffit compared to this side, and that's because I put together a little header beam. So this little piece of wood is just basically two 2x4s sandwiched together with a spacer that gives me my full 3.5 inch width, which is the same width here at 3.5 inches. And what I wanted to show you, now normally, if this was a structural member, I would probably spend the extra time finding a 1/2 inch piece of plywood to sandwich in between here. Because this header is not structural, it's simply architectural, meaning all I'm trying to accomplish is lowering the top of the opening down so that it'll allow me to place a nice finish trim board around the perimeter, give it a nice decorative width. Okay, so the way I did it, I just had some blocks of wood that I happened to find laying around that was 1/2 inch thick, or just a little bit narrower than 1/2 inch, but that's okay. And I measured to width, and this will fit. I did dry fit this first before showing you. So the next thing I'm going to do is get it ready for fastening. This is the bottom side, and what I did was I pilot drilled a couple holes on an angle. So that's the finished product on this side. This is the drill bit that I'm using, and basically I'm going in about a 45-degree angle. Start straight. Okay. Now, since this is the underside, I also drilled a hole just in the middle, one screw, to help keep this also up tight. Okay, 4 screws plus 5. Again, non-structural, merely decorative. Doesn't have to be holding up the house. All right, so some people go overkill. I do it right, but right now I'm just going to put my screwdriver bit back to speed 1. I'm using sort of like these coated deck screws, Torx head, and I'm going to get them started. Okay. always harder with one hand. Maybe when I become more successful, I'll figure out a better way to record. All right. Didn't come out. And right here, this one. Okay. I'm not going to worry about the flashing yet until after I get this board up, okay? Do this one person without having a helper. And you can see how tricky it's going to get. And you bring your persuader. It goes in. If you go in more aligned, it'll go in a little easier. I cut it just a little bit long, not too long, probably more exact. And I'm going to keep it flush to the outside, to my vertical piece right here. All right. I'm going to stabilize this, reach down. And then screw in the outside screw. Okay, this side, I can just, oops, hold it flush and drill. Keep your finger out of the way. Okay, now I can do the other side. This is nice and flush. There, that is secure. I had run out of my 4-inch wide rolls, but I did have some leftover 9-inch wide wrap from 10 years ago when I built my deck. So I'm going to use this in place, finish off my left side and my header. This is pretty good. I think this is even better than what I had before. So now I have to just cut my angle here, find the corner, right there, go on to 45, and wrap it up, wrap it around, overlap all the way over here to the edge, and mark it right here with my thumb. I'm going to put the factory edge down. I want to go again all the way here. So I went high enough that my nails will get sealed, and I'm going to put another one on top covering the nails, and that'll seal everything. I'm going to put the factory edge right on this 4x4, right where my angle is, there. And I'm going even to the inside. So now I have my rough opening prepared. And my design, I have to put a 3/4 inch piece of wood on this ledge here. Okay, when I measured the window, I do remember now that I wanted to have a little thicker exposure on the bottom as well. That's why I made it 3/4 inches higher there as well. So I pre-cut my wood. I had pre-ripped this. So what is this wood? This is poplar. I saved this piece from a prior project. It was a 12-inch board, and I used my table saw and I ripped it down to the right width, 3.5 inches, which is the same width as the wall. And then I just cross-cut it to fit and laying it down here. I'm gonna make sure this corner is flush with this vertical post, and this corner is flush with this vertical post as well. Because when the window sets in, I want this corner to be nice and even. One way you could make sure that this corner is even with this is you set a level, push it up against this 4x4, and then bring this board out to meet it, okay? Now you know it's flush. 3 screws is enough. The nails that I use to fasten my windows to the framing are galvanized roofing nails. Now, I gotta thank my father for giving me this glass jar. Believe it or not, I believe this was a Nescafe instant coffee jar with roofing nails. He collects those. I don't know where he got them, but he got them and gave them to me, I think 10-15 years ago, and I've saved them ever since. It could even be 15 years ago. Never know when you're going to use them, and sure enough, you put in new windows, you're going to need nails, so why go to the hardware store and get nails? These are bloody expensive nowadays. Everything is so expensive, so if you can get freebies or collect them in a yard sale or garage sale, I think it's worth it. Now I'm going to double check my height of my rough opening. I have 67 3/4 on this side. I have 67 5/8 on this side. So the left side's a little bit shorter. I'll put my level on, and I am a little bit off level. So I'll need to know that when I put my window in and hoist it in, and I'll get my helper on the inside to help straighten the window. I now know that my bottom of my window is a little bit off level, so I can't rely on the window ledge to keep my window square. So it needs to be square so that it works nicely up and down. So I'm going to give my helper a little pry bar, and I'm going to also give my helper instructions when I apply my level to the window, and I'll be guiding him as to which corner he should be prying upward. And once he pries upward the right amount that gets this thing level, I'll have him hold it there until I can put a nail. And in the ideal world, this works the first try, but we'll see. One more addendum is I have a 4-foot level that I'm going to stick on the side of the window to make sure it's plumb. Same idea, same concept. I'm going to put the window up on top first. Sometimes it'll go in. Normally you put the window in on the bottom first and then you drop it in, but because it's so tight, it's going to have to kind of go in evenly. Pull that pry bar out. Pull the pry bar out. Okay, stick it underneath. Is it underneath? Okay, so the top corner is binding a little bit, which means I think it might be raised a little too high. So I'm gonna put the level on the window. Okay, this window, okay, that left side, can you try to squeeze that, pull that pry bar out a little bit? Can you pry it up a little bit? Oh yeah, that's perfect right there. Okay, you hold it right there, okay, hon? Pry it up. Right there, hold it right there. Keep holding it.
Get over here.
Keep holding it.
Come on.
Okay, now, the next step is I'm going to get my taller level, and I want to see if I'm plumb. And it is pretty good. All right, I'm gonna put one more nail on this side, and then I think you're gonna be able to pull out that. Wait, no, one more. Don't pull it out yet. Don't pull that out yet. I'm gonna put one more nail up high. Okay, now you can pull that out. Good job. Now I gotta get to the top. And oh yeah, it's in all the way, so that's good. I was worried it was still proud, but it's not. So now I'm gonna just nail this in place. What I'm using is 1¼ galvanized roofing nails. And you'll see that there's holes along this nailing flange. I'm going to put a nail in each one. There is the finished product. Now, the next step is to finish that flashing up on top. You're going to see here that I covered up my top nail flange, and now I'm going to cover this. The prevailing rain and wind comes from this direction, so I'm going to cover this up with this wrap, and then I'll trim the corner. go inside. It's a lot quieter in here. I'm peeling off the stickers before the adhesive. Now, I want to test. Hopefully we did everything right. These are shipping tabs that were put in to keep the window from moving. So we just got to pull them out. And we open the windows by unlocking them. I think that's the right way. One finger, two fingers. That's the way it works. Wow. It's a lot cooler in here. Boy, these special coated glass really helps block the heat. So let's take a look at the view from inside. All right, so some details to discuss. I'll be fabricating jam extensions. So half-inch poplar will be nailed to here. Kind of the same width as this. Will be here all the way around, even on the upper. And then I'll finish this off by wrapping this all in half-inch poplar. And then I'll be putting a rough cedar casing on top of this. And it'll all be stained the same sort of red color as all the other trim around the house. The doggy door works. Dogs are starting to learn how to use it. The latching mechanism on the door, quick review. I added a little block to help pull this out. And then I added my strike plate